You're listening to Binging the Devil's Fruit, a One Piece manga read-through podcast where sometimes during the binge, we take a break, kick back, and put on a movie or TV special. And sometimes we even bring along friends. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Binging the Devil's Fruit. This is episode 68 of the podcast. I'm your host, John Mookie Warjam. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Jab Peanut.
Hey, and before we started, John has been, quote-unquote, hyping this one up. Emphasis on quote-unquote.
By quote-unquote, I mean no. And we actually tried to get a guest for this one, but scheduling did not work out. And it's probably a sign, because I remember... Well, first, let me start off by saying, before we get into the next arc of the manga, we just did a review of special TV Special 3, and that one was all right. But we're getting into a movie that's not. We're going to be reviewing movie 5, The Cursed Holy Sword, or The Cursed Sacred Sword. There's no consistent title to this movie. It's about a cursed sword of some kind. I remember not liking this one at all. I thought the plot behind it, even by One Piece standards, was fucking stupid. And I'm about to find out again with you. So, to this unnamed guest that was potentially going to join us today, I think you should consider yourself very fortunate.
Boy.
But if you're not fortunate and you want to help us possibly and join us in our misfortune, where can they do that, Austen?
Over at our Patreon.
That's patreon.com/superbonusround for just $3 a month. Not only do you get access to the regular episodes a week before they're supposed to go out, you also get access to an exclusive commentary track where you get to watch the movie with us. You haven't watched it yet, so I don't know how this is going to be. So it could be worth it. It might not. But yeah. I feel like I'm downplaying the Patreon, but yeah, I trust that trust me when I say that the commentary tracks are worth it. Like the one for movie 4 was a lot of fun with Trash Queen and King, and I'm really looking forward to the next movie after this one. But before we do that, we got to do this one. Ready to watch The Curse of the Holy Sword, Austen?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, we'll see you back in the review. We're back. One Piece, the movie 5, The Cursed Holy Sword.
And boy, was it bad.
Yeah, and it was bad, but not for the reasons I remember. I remember the plot being contrived and stupid, but it is. But you know what this movie's real sin is?
What?
It's fucking boring.
Oh, definitely.
It is probably the most boring out of them. And yes, it has a stupid ass plot, but just like the first movie does. But at least the first movie has the mercy to be short.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's get into why this movie didn't work.
So it begins with a flashback. This place called Asuka Island is being attacked by five pirates, and in this temple, the villagers saw. Let's see. No, wait. Fuck. Yeah, sorry.
So, yeah, Asuka Island.
Down. Yeah. And in a temple, a man named Saga, yes, that's really his name.
It's a real name?
Cut down by a pirate who's protecting this woman named Maya. And we get it. But as blood seeps from his wound, a CGI tomb opens up to reveal a sword.
Yeah, and it glows.
Yeah, Saga grabs it and he suddenly healed and just mercilessly slices through the pirates. And
they show you their silhouettes being literally sliced through, like they're now divided.
Mm-hmm. And suddenly we come to the present where the Straw Hats are being docked there,
eating the nearest restaurant out of the house and home, as always.
And Nami, he talks about the effing star sword. She says it's supposed to be the most beautiful sword on all the Grand Line, and it's rumored to be on this very island. And of course, it's a treasure. Nami wants it.
But Robin warns that there's a curse associated with it, where every 100 years a blood moon appears, and it will revive the sword and cause an untold calamity and bring the world to darkness. So they're not sure what to do about that. But then all of a sudden they get chased by the Marines because One Piece.
Yeah. I don't know, you're gonna little ahead. Like Usopp and Zoro are on the ship. Zoro's on guard duty while Usopp's repairing it. But a knife gets thrown towards Zoro. It has his name etched onto the handle. So he goes to see what it was all about. And let's see.
Yeah, then the Marines start chasing them, and they leave Zoro behind.
And they bound... Okay, and yeah, they go through these little islets, I think they're called.
Sure.
And somehow, they go up a bridge and fly through the air with no momentum whatsoever.
Maybe the wind's carrying them, I guess, but I don't know how they jump off.
Yeah, and they bounce on Hippo Rhino booty. And
turns out he's into that shit.
Yeah, we joked about how it was his fetish.
If you think this is a weird, random thing that's never going to come up again, stay tuned to the end of the review. So, Zoro, where is Zoro going? Apparently, he goes into the forest and he finds these 3 or 4 people. I think it was like 3. One of them is very round and looks like Ray Rocket from Rocket Power if he was round. This one guy who looks like your average generic One Piece villain, and this one kid who looks like he's like a backup dancer for the Backstreet Boys in 2001, but wearing a tattered Marine hat. And they lead him into the forest where there are a bunch of Marines training under Saga, who is alive and well. And for whatever reason, Zoro just immediately pledges his life to Saga. And I'm thinking,
why?
I don't know. You can start to see where this is going with the fucking movie. Oh, so as I'm going through the wiki, I was looking up the names of the the goons. The 3 minions. The kid's name is Toma, but they say this in the episode. The generic guy with the armor and the red hair is Bismarck, and the big round guy, you wanna know what his name is?
What?
Bukong. I'm now picturing a ghost Donkey Kong, and I hate it.
Oh God!
Like a Boo with a Kong face. Ugh. But that's not what it looks like. He's just a big round Dog the Bounty Hunter looking guy. Like somebody you'd see in the comment section about on Facebook complaining about how much they hate the halftime show.
So Saga asked Zoro for a favor, and back on the Gun Mary, the Straw Hats are still searching for Zoro, and they come across this lake where Maya is swimming and carrying 3 orbs. I don't know why she's swimming with the orbs in the lake to begin with.
Yeah. And even after watching the movie, I'm like, why is she doing that?
I thought it was just for the fan service or something.
Probably. And I was like, we don't know how old this girl is, so I ain't doing anything. I ain't gonna say nothing. I looked it up. I did it on this her age. So I'm like, nope, I'm not falling for it.
So, anyway, Luffy begins shouting at the girl, asking if she's seen Zoro, and without thinking, he just stretches his arms out to land to pull himself to it, and Usopp latches onto him to try to stop him, but accidentally sends him flying.
Yep. And
as they lose sight of Maya, but the rest of the Straw Hats decide to look, and they catch up to Maya, and they follow her all the way to this village, who are panicking because they assume it's going to be a pirate attack.
But it's an attack by the Marines. which is what's really strange.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the Marines, it's the Marines from Saga's little dojo that he has full of them, which is, I wonder what the hell that's all about.
And even more shocking of all, Sho is with him and chases after Maya and her grandma, while Shanti tries to stop Sho. But he fails, and Sho takes the 3 orbs Maya had. And let's see. And he retreats along with the Marines and Saga's henchmen. And back at the dojo, Usopp and Luffy manage to get there, and it seems like the Marines aren't even fazed by them. Even when Luffy asks for a plan about Sho, and even when the wanted posters are being hanged up.
which Usopp hilariously rips them down upon seeing them immediately.
And Tomo informs him that Sho will be back any time, but then Sako feels himself, and has a hard time believing that Luffy really has 100 million and berry bounty on him, and insists on testing him. But he gives Toma the chance and tries to slice at Luffy with high speed. And that's when Sako feels that Sho will no longer be associated with the Straw Hats, and Luffy starts attacking him, but he draws out the blade that he was seen gripping at the beginning, claiming that the sword wants Luffy's blood. So Sako attacks Luffy, and at one point Luffy punches at the sword, but it burns his knuckles, and this weird thing where with the sharpest sword, this big green fire orb shoots out at Luffy and sends him flying off a cliff, and Usopp jumps after him, or rather, he's faced with either jumping off the cliff or facing the rest of Saga and his men, and he chooses the cliff.
Yeah. Which is really interesting for Usopp. He would never choose the cliff at any instant, but I guess here he does. But
and Usopp busts out what he claims is his new invention, the Usopp Skyrider, but it's a very, very tiny parachute that
it's smaller than his head. What is this? A parachute for ants?
And he crashes in a village below. And back to the village, the Straw Hats, as in the villagers, are tending to everybody's wounds, and even with a damage on, Shanti still insists on cooking. And that's when the grandma Isaiah insists that they have to leave because, not because they're pirates, but because their lives are now in grave danger. And meanwhile, Usopp was managed to get snagged into a tree thanks to that dinky little parachute. He finds Luffy's straw hat, but no sign of Luffy. And before he can wonder where Luffy is, some kind of trap door opens up, and he just falls down. And that's when Sho turns to Saga with the orbs, and Saga throws him down a well.
Yeah, so when the Zoro and the quote unquote Marines attacked, they were hunting for the 3 orbs that Maya was swimming with.
And meanwhile, Usopp finds himself in a large underground labyrinth, and as he looks for Luffy, and Luffy just runs away laughing because he activated a border trap, and it's a fully CG border.
I mean, it was on soft definition, so it wasn't supposed to look good, but the version of the movie we watched was high def, so it's like, yeah, some stuff's meant to be watched in soft definition for a reason.
Yeah, and they continue through activating more and more traps, and they actually make it out at one point, but instead they see a tower, and they decide to just go back in instead.
Which for me is the funniest thing. It's like, we've escaped the labyrinth. I don't like this tower. Let's go back and find another way. Sure. What other moron besides that would do this?
And it happens 2 more times until at one point, they come across a little underground river where Luffy finds the 3 orbs, and accidentally activates another trap that floods the caverns.
Yeah, it washes them out, and then it spouts them out where with the rest of the Straw Hats and the villagers. And then I believe this is when the old priestess informs them of the full story of the cursed holy sword and the orbs.
Yeah, and how they were the only thing that can help protect the village from the red blood moon.
Yeah,
red moon.
So the orbs are supposed to be placed in the 3 towers and put up a shield over the red moon, and then hopefully that will drain the sword of its power, and then get rid of it forever. And they're like, well, I'll help out because this movie really was a chore to sit through. So and they're like, okay, so every 100 years the red moon arrives. Oh, when's it supposed to be out next? Tonight. Of course. Convenient, yeah. So
found out some. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was getting ready to do the next part.
Something about Maya being engaged to Saga, and how without the orbs, they might have to sacrifice her to fend off the blood moon.
The blood sacrifice for their mistake.
Oh, God.
It's your fault. So what the hell is the deal with Saga, the character that Zoro supposedly... Well, apparently they were childhood friends, and by childhood friends, the special seems to imply they were adult friends. Because they flash back to just shortly before he joined Luffy, and they made a promise to each other that they would become great swordsmen. I don't know. I don't think the movie cares all that much. And then they separate because he believes Saga had died in a raid against some pirates that they were hunting. Because Saga gets his arm caught on a chain during a commotion. And he sacrifices himself to let Zoro get away. So Zoro has a bad track record with childhood friends. His first childhood friend, Kuina, died of down the stairs. Saga died of blow the fuck up.
Well, it turns out he didn't really die because he ended up on that very same island. Only he allegedly lost his arm. We say allegedly because
stay tuned. Stay tuned about that one.
And
that knife that he threw at Zoro was like a symbol of their promise that they made to each other when they were kids, which they do bring up later. They show you like at the ass end that yes, they were indeed childhood friends, not adult friends as recent.
Oh yeah, but before Maya could prepare herself for the sacrifice, a rumbling occurs and Luffy and Usopp shoot out from a geyser.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that a little bit.
And let's see, was this the scene where the grandma refuses herself to be really, really tall?
Yeah, then she's just crouching like a ball.
Yeah, that actually got a kick out of me.
That scared me. I was like, what the fuck? There was no illusion that she was actually that big. So she's like your stereotypical like old hunched over granny in like Japanese cartoons, but all of a sudden she hears a surprising fact and she's all of a sudden taller than everybody by like 3 meters. And she does it twice.
And so they come up with a new plan to have the Straw Hats split into team, and let's see, each team will pull an orb into those towers Luffy and Usopp came across.
Yeah.
Maya will do a prayer, and...
Yeah, so if you fled the Wind Waker, remember the Tower of the Gods mission where you had to put all the pearls and it was basically that. Except you're not summoning a giant tower. You're trying to stop an evil moon from powering an evil sword.
So Saga plans on he's possessed by that demon insert thing, and he fights Zoro because the blade demands his blood or something like that. And as Zoro lays there bleeding, that's when the orbs activates the shield.
But it doesn't work.
And right, because Saga and Luffy do a rematch.
Saga and Zoro do a fight first, and then the power weakens. But you went to the bathroom during the commentary, but the orbs all of a sudden break, and at just the right moment, and then Saga suddenly becomes infused with the power of the sword, and then he takes on Luffy. But Zoro catches up eventually to fight with Saga, and it becomes. You'd think this is where they do a one-on-one. No, it's like the stereotype about Dragon Ball episodes where they just stand around before they actually fight? I swear to God that actually happened while you were in the bathroom. Okay. And then during the height of the Blood Moon, Zoro jumps into the air, does a single strike towards Saga, and doesn't kill him, but gets rid of the sword. And then the sword shatters and disappears.
Literally goes down in one hit.
I don't think we need to summarize the entire, because if we did that, we're gonna be here all night, and I'd like to experience this movie a lot less than any more than one time. Even though I've watched this now twice. So then after that, like most One Piece specials, they fuck off and they return to their adventures in the Grand Line. But they're suddenly interrupted by the horny hippo rhino because he fell in love with the Going Merry, and they run away in comical fashion.
It's a horny hippo.
And that's Curse of the Sacred Holy Sword. This movie sucks. It's the worst one.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Like the worst one so far.
Yeah. And talking about it is making me upset. But you know what won't make me upset? Categorizing this movie. So who was the MVP of Cursed Holy Sword? Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first. I'm going to say Zoro.
Yeah. As stupid as this movie was, he took down the big bad.
Yeah, he actually got time to shine instead of just Luffy this time around.
Yeah, sure. Luffy fought him for like a little bit, but Zoro did the finishing blow. I'm going to break our rule and also say Zoro, because I also want to talk about this movie as little as possible now.
I don't blame you.
Least valuable pirate is our next category. Nami again. Jesus Christ, she's on a streak.
She just can't get a break.
She was literally in a fight with Toma during the Thunder Tempo, and it's the party trick.
Yeah.
And she's the one who hyped up the treasure in the first place when it was actually bad. Who would you think was the LVP besides her?
I'm breaking a rule. Gonna say Nami as well.
Okay.
If you can pick mine, I'm allowed to pick yours, okay?
All right, well, I'm going to get you back. Our next one is the best scene. And for me, the only scene I'm ever going to remember ever is the grandma turning tall.
Oh, God damn it.
That got a legitimate reaction to me. I was like, what the fuck?
Okay, best scene. There were times when the Straw Hats or Kato was in the foreground and they looked like weird, poorly detailed stick figure thingies. That got chuckle at me.
You're putting that in best scene? Literally
because
anytime they look like that.
It was because of how crappy the animation was that they was playing. Sid got kicking at me.
For me, the worst scene. This is tough. You want to do worst scene first?
Okay, worst scene.
There's a lot of them. It's hard to pick.
The main villain going down in one hit.
Really, I thought that was cool. But okay.
Yeah, but I literally came just as that fight begins/ended. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, Austen went to the bathroom during when they were doing the standoff I was talking about, and when he came back, it was over. He missed like nothing. For me, the worst scene, the hippo. Why? Why?
It was a dumb joke. Yeah,
it's a dumb joke that does it. It at least had the mercy of only appearing at the beginning and the end of the movie and never again.
True.
So next is the best fight. Who was the best fight? What was the best fight of the I'm going to say Zoro versus Saga. Like that initial fight before he goes crazy, before the Red Moon, That one was good. When he's super powered, I'm at the point where the movie, I want the movie to be over already, so not that one. The Zoro versus Saga, the first time, is my best scene.
Fuck, what's my best as fight scene? No, damn it. This is gonna be hard because a lot of fight scenes I was starting to lose interest in the film. Like, when the fight scenes have a hard time keeping my interest, it's bad. Fuck. Luffy versus Saga?
That's the best one? Okay. Yeah, it's Luffy going up somebody with a blade. That's interesting enough. Worst scene. Okay, for me, this is easy. Them coming out of the tunnel. It's like, this isn't where food is. Let's go back in and try the other one. They do it like 3 times. I'm like, come on. I know they're establishing that there are 3 towers, but this is stupid.
And that worst scene was a lot of.
Oh, wait,
I'm gonna pick a word here saying it's gonna technically multiple scenes, but all that information / lore dumping been doing.
Yeah, and
they did a lot of it throughout this film. Like, Jesus Christ.
Not many of it made any sense either.
No. Like, even with that one flashback where they were still in a different art style, it still couldn't catch my interest.
Oh, we were supposed to do worst fight, not worst scene, but
oh fuck, worst fight. Damn it.
Toma versus Luffy was like, I don't understand what the hell the point of that was. Break a rule, let's both say that.
Yeah, let's just get this shit over with.
Okay. So our next category is review the villainy of the villain. How villainous was this villain?
I mean, he was just possessed by a fucking sword. Didn't really have much of a counter, and I didn't really care that much even before he was possessed or what his life used to be.
Because they don't show it to you.
Yeah. And also, like you said, whoever directed this movie had Devil May Cry in the brain, because his character design looked a lot like Dante from those games.
And his sword play reminded me of Virgil.
So I rank him that real gangly tattooed hyena-like Crash Bandicoot from Clash of the Titans out of Dante from Devil May Cry.
Yeah. His entire character is being possessed by this sword. Like Austen said, there is no backstory to his wants and motivations other than he and Zoro were friends once and they both share a sense of justice that he enacts by taking up an evil sword and wanting to destroy. Come on. He is an edgelord wearing carrying a. He's the one. While you were having sex, I was studying the blade out of Orin from Final Fantasy X. Sorry, there already exists a cool swordsman clad in red whose arm doesn't work, and you ain't him. Rate the opening and ending. There was no opening, and the ending was generic. I'm skipping that category. Let's go right to the fruit score. How would we rate One Piece the Movie 5, The Cursed Holy Sword? Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Despite my ragging on this film, I will say, if I had to start with a positive, this film, for the most part, is the best looking one. Like, the choices of color and like purples and reds and the color scheme throughout some parts of this film were really good for 2004 anime movie. And the animation, when done well, looked really good. Looked better than most One Piece episodes from a certain era. I will grant it that. And also, this movie is also where most of the many tracks that get abused even in the anime to this very frigging day are from. That being said, it does not abide its abysmal, boring, trite story. I am giving this a rotten devil fruit out of Broken Master Sword. It is the worst. It is the worst one. It is worse than the first. The first movie had racism in it, but it was short. This was a bad story and too long.
It was it felt like it was a real slog. Like, I'm giving this a 1 out of 5 as well. Like, it was a real chore to sit through. It's a shame because I'm enjoying the manga. Thanks to you, of course, in this podcast. But this movie was the worst One Piece related media I've seen so far. That's not including the 4Kids stuff, by the way.
Can you imagine if 4Kids did this movie?
Oh, God.
We existed in a world where that could have happened. They had the license when this movie came out.
And thankfully, they never got around to it as they drowned in debt.
Yep. Well, that's going to do it for our review of One Piece, the movie 5, The Cursed Holy Sword. I promise the next movie is so much better. And we're not going to be...
it's that.
And we're not going to be reviewing it for much longer from now. However, join us next time when we return to the manga. In episode 69 of the podcast, we'll be reviewing chapters 303 to 308. So, and for those of you that are familiar with One Piece, this is a short arc that will only take us a couple of episodes. And then we'll get to the movie, and we will have a guest for that one.
Ooh, yay.
So thank you guys again so much for listening. And if you hadn't consider supporting us on Patreon if you want to suffer through this movie along with us to see just how bad it is. I don't recommend it, but if you really want to, you may as well do it with us. Until then, I've been John Mugiwara JM.
I'm Jad Peanut.
And remember, when binging the devil's fruit, don't do it while watching this movie. Have a good one, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for binging The Devil's Fruit with us today. If you'd like to enhance your binging experience even further, for just $3 a month, not only do you get access to episodes 1 week before they go live for the public, you also get exclusive access to our commentary tracks for our One Piece anime movie special reviews on our Patreon. The review episodes themselves will always be free to all listeners, but if you want the commentary tracks, that's patreon.com/superbonusround. Thanks for your support.